Yukito is the son of a cult leader who worships Mitama. In the hope that Yukito will reincarnate as their next leader, the cult drowns him. Yukito has a sincere wish to return to a world devoid of religion. In a new world, he wakes up in a remote village with sisters Allura and Siluril, farmers Clan and Roy, and friends. After a few weeks, they go to the Imperial City to get pornographic magazines for Allura and Roy. Yukito witnesses a mass suicide in public and learns that there is no fear of death without religion. When the government decides that citizens are no longer useful or social deviants, they proudly commit suicide. Allura and the villagers are all deviants who, out of fear of death, refuse suicide. Allura's lustful nature was the reason she was called a deviant. Yukito discovers that outcasts can be executed at any time after Allura and Siluril vanish. Siluril has already been hanged, and Yukito and Siluril both die while trying to save Allura. Yukito prays to Mitama, who appears as a young girl as he dies again. He had been impatiently waiting for him to summon her as the next leader of the cult. Mitama is thrilled to be the only god in a brand new world, so he kills the government soldiers and raises Yukito and Allura from the dead. Mitama also brings back Siluril and other deviants who have been hanged. Allura is jealous of Yukito because she doesn't know what a god is, and she thinks Mitama is his lover. Yukito asks Mitama about her powers out of fear of government retaliation and is depressed to learn that she has no powers left because there are no believers in this new world. Yukito needs 10,000 people to worship Mitama and make her a god once more because the government may send an army to their village. When Mitama treats Roy with contempt, Roy, who has discovered that he enjoys masochism, becomes her first convert. Mitama is dissatisfied with Yukito's continued lack of faith in her. When Mitama simply lists embarrassing events from Yukito's childhood, her attempt to demonstrate her godly knowledge fails. Using magic and fortune-telling, Yukito also fails to win over the villagers' faith. Chilchil, Allura's pet fox, dies from poison, so Mitama uses Roy's belief to resurrect Chilchil, convincing Allura and Siluril to believe. Mitama grants Allura's request to resurrect the soldiers she killed because they were innocent men following orders now that she has some power back. Bertrand, the soldiers' commander, is furious when Mitama raises him as a woman. Bertrand wants to get back to the magnificent government, yet with his female body is dismissed as an anonymous degenerate. Bertrand is forced to take Yukito's offer of a job as Mitama's holy knight and live in the village. Yukito recruits Mitama with dubious methods by providing members only with exclusive benefits like priority protection from monsters and access to Mitama's healing magic. Allura and Siluril make Bertrand wear female clothing, and she tells Yukito that the power of the Imperial Army comes from archons, individual warriors given powerful abilities by the Emperor. Bertrand's sword, which appears magical but was made by the Emperor, fascinates Yukito. Despite being tasked with destroying the village, the Archon Adder keeps getting held up by monsters that appear out of nowhere. Yukito is suddenly motivated by a memory of his father, who reminds him that martial arts training makes most religions popular. Yukito makes the decision, with Clem's blessing, to bring the deviants into the 21st century. Adder decides to kidnap Bertrand to find out how his gender was changed 1 month later when he arrives and encounters Bertrand, now dressed in even more outrageous attire. Adder is shocked by the village's dramatic transformation because they now have modern technology like motorized vehicles, industrial-sized farmland, and wind turbine generators. We see that Yukito ordered Mitama to summon modern technology, which he restricted to Mitama's followers. Soon, Mitama had nearly 2,000 followers. Additionally, the idea that believers are superior to non-believers was introduced by Yukito as exclusivity. Clem acknowledged that he is not in fact a deviant. He used to work in the Emperor's palace, but he got bored of it and moved voluntarily into the deviants' village. Yukito pondered the reason why the idea of gods was never used to explain unfathomable occurrences such as natural disasters. According to Bertrand, members of the assembly who work for the Emperor are the ones who explain such events. Yukito learns that Adder has taken Bertrand captive. Adder concludes that modern technology is blasphemy against the assembly and Emperor. Mitama fights Adder's Archon power with the strength of 2,000 believers, but Mitama loses first. Adder, perplexed and enraged by the village's resistance, destroy it, only for it to reappear unharmed. Clem reveals that he is actually a woman disguised as Loki the Archon, which Adder realizes was an illusion. She decides, after spying on the village, that Yukito and Mitama are the people she needs to help kill the Emperor. Adder, Yukito, and Mitama are taken to the Emperor by Loki, who reveals that the Emperor is just an illusion and that the assembly, a gigantic machine that controls the empire through a suicide system, controls the castle. Mitama uncovers individuals who annihilated the world in strict conflict. The assembly was built by the survivors to ensure that religion was forgotten. Yukito realizes that he was not reborn in a different universe after religion disappeared. Mitama just sent him thousands of years into the future of Earth. Loki offers to let them destroy Assembly because he is sick of it. Yukito reveals that she learned from Assembly how humans once had free will because she doubts Loki's motives. She began sneaking into deviant villages to learn about free will, but she soon realized that the Assembly was also in control of them indirectly. The supreme example of a free-willing being, Yukito, who was accompanied by God, then appeared. Because he wanted this for himself, Loki made another deviant villager believe she was God and discovered that their faith gave her powers similar to God's. As a result, she and the archons, with the exception of Adder, had a plan to overthrow Assembly and become gods. Yukito agrees that having free will is better, so Mitama blows up Assembly by planting a huge tree underneath it. When Yukito swears to help Mitama defeat the archons and become the one true god, knowing that the archons would make terrible gods, Loki is surprised. Yukito and Loki leave the helpless Adder. Bertrand follows Loki to the Empire in the hope that she will once again become a man permanently after Loki temporarily transforms her back into a man. Adder contemplates suicide until Yukito gives her hope of re-establishing Assembly and becoming a god for herself. Allura expects Yukito to be a Lolican. Adder is now their second god, Yukito declares, sharing believers, granting her half of Mitama's power. Silleril learns that Archon Dakini's religion, which revolves around sex, lust, and perversion and has priestesses named sluts, already has 10,000 adherents. Yukito decides to hijack the 10,000 believers from within the church. For initiation, Rich, the chief slut, takes them to Dakini. When Yukito learns that his initiation involves being locked in a room with Allura while she is under a potent lust spell, she experiences panic. He manages to resist until Mitama rescues them thanks to his father's training. When Rich enters the room, the unused lust energy enters her, causing her to orgasm and reveal that she is a virgin who does not believe in Dakini. She asks Mitama for assistance in destroying Dakini's religion after realizing that she is also a god. Bertrand is shown by Loki that society has begun to fail without the Assembly. Rich admits that she was a deviant whose love of porn made her an expert in sex, and as a result, she was made chief slut for her knowledge of erotica and her false expertise. As a result of Yukito's promise to destroy the church, she accepts their fictitious membership. As a result of her absence, Mitama's followers devote more time to worshipping Adder. Yukito had Rich summoned from Japan to spread modern sexual knowledge, toys, and medications, leading Dakini's followers to worship Rich instead of the absent Dakini. Roy betrays their plan when Dakini brainwashes him into believing that masturbation is acceptable. Rich, who was sadistically trained in acting by Yukito, convincingly pretends to be completely loyal to Dakini and begs to be punished at their trial. Allura, Yukito, Mitama, and Allura are all accused of heresy. This gains the support of the adherents of Dakini, because a person who is so clearly loyal to Dakini cannot be a heretic. Dakini holds them in jail and delays the trial in the event of a rebellion. Roy abandons them and declares his allegiance to Dakini. Yukito begins making plans for their escape when Dakini's most devoted and inhumanly powerful bodyguards, the Purgers, suddenly appear in their cell. Dakini recalls that Assembly gave her the power to restrict human love so that Assembly could control the population by artificially producing children. Humans lost their capacity for love and infertility after thousands of years. Pornography was created and a portion of the population, particularly a deviant named Toka, fell in love again as a result of the population's quiet rebellion against Assembly Dakini. Dakini swore that no matter what, she would restore human love after Toka was murdered when she became pregnant. Adder and Silleril save Yukito and the others from the Purgers. Over 6,000 of Mitama's followers now worship Adder, who is able to defeat the weak Dakini herself. Sadly, Dakini reveals that she still has over 14,000 followers despite Rich's theft of some of them. It is discovered that Rich is Toka's daughter. Adder, Allura, and Silleril molest Yukito after Dakini infects them with uncontrollable lust. Mitama saves them by borrowing the 15 believers of Rich. As a real god, Mitama easily defeats Dakini despite having fewer believers than the fake Archon. Dakini tries to flee, but Roy captures her. Yukito had persuaded him that Mitama would lust after him if he betrayed Dakini. Dakini weeps as she realizes that Rich is the one who destroyed human love, not Assembly, and begs Toka's forgiveness after being defeated. Rich's resemblance to Toka causes Dakini to break down in tears. Rich tries to betray Yukito so that Dakini can take over as church leader again. Yukito and the others are able to sneak away because of this. Mitama finally attains 10,000 followers, including Rich's followers, and regains full godhood. When they get back, they find that the village has been completely destroyed by monsters. Mitama spends all of her power repairing the village despite only recently regaining her status as a god. Archon Gaia, the monster master, appears and explains that the village was accidentally destroyed. She is too weak to control her monsters because she only has 2 followers. She doesn't like it when archons fight each other and wants to help defeat Loki. When everyone visits the city, they discover that Loki has erected a huge wall around it. Bertrand, who is still a woman, is so unhappy that she wants to die. With 1,120,000 followers, Loki has close to ultimate power. However, when Yukito laughs at such a small number and departs with Bertrand, she is perplexed. Since Yukito has no idea how to defeat Loki, he is relieved that his tough guy act worked at the village. According to Bertrand, society has already recovered and functions just as it did under assembly, with Loki serving as the emperor. Yukito knows that Loki's followers must still be loyal to the old emperor, so stealing them will be easy if he makes Mitama a teen idol and makes her more popular than Loki. Yukito teams up with Siluril, Allura, Gaia, and Adder to form an idol group that quickly gains popularity. Yukito has reinvented music ever since Assembly deleted all of it. Yukito confirms that Mitama's power is not only determined by the number of her followers, but also by how much faith they have. This means that even if a god has fewer followers, she can still defeat Loki if her followers are more religious, and Mitama's followers are more religious than ever thanks to music. Bertrand is sent by Yukito to spy on Gaia because she has started being secretive. He finds that Gaia has adopted several children as her private, very small group of loyal followers. Yukito decides to crush Gaia because a child's unfathomable love for their parent could make Gaia very dangerous. Bertrand tries to attack Yukito because he has a crush on him. This all turns out to be a prank by Dakini. Dakini is now a huge music fan because her fans like to listen to music. Tai and Cyan, the oldest children, are devoted to Gaia and reveal that they have the ability to control monsters, which they use to attack Dakini. The end. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new anime recaps.